Hey guys, working on some projects here. Thought I would crank out a few videos, at least until the batteries die. So here we go. You remember that Winchester 1300 I did the video on a couple months ago? Picked it up from a family member for $100. Well, you know, I played and toyed around with it, and I decided, you know, it's a 20 gauge, it's not really that collectible. I really want to do something with it, but do something that's not going to destroy the value to it. So I decided I wanted to turn this into a survival shotgun. Primarily being because it is a 20 gauge, and 20 gauge is, you know, lighter weight, smaller, you can carry more ammo, etc. And it still packs up, you know, pretty darn good punch for a round. So I wanted to turn it into a kind of a survival shotgun. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but this is my start. And I want to explain everything because I know you guys probably see a ton of videos where guys say, hey, it's my survival shotgun. And all they did to it was just upgrade, you know, to black furniture, which really doesn't help that much. It might just might make you feel better. But so we got some nice functional upgrades on this. So I'm going to go through them and show you. And I've only got maybe $250 invested in this, so you can actually do this for really, really cheap, guys. I paid $100 for the gun and then about another $150 for upgrade parts. And I've got quite a little doozy going on here. We'll start from the tip up. First thing I did was I put a new bead sight on there. I bought a very bright copper bead sight, put it in, Loctited it in. We'll bring this up, see if we can show you a little better. And you can see behind it is a fiber optic sight. I wanted, you know, the brighter bead sight. You know, it was kind of important to me to have a nice bright shiny bead sight on it, but I also wanted this magnetized fiber optic sight on it. The fiber optic sight was only like 15 bucks. The bead sight was a couple of dollars. Gives me a good bright sight for outdoors. You know, when you're using this outdoors, the sun's very bright, those beads can be hard to find. So I got you know, the upgraded bead and then the sight, and of course this is just magnetized. So it's a pretty strong magnet, which is good. But that's all it is. Just holds on with some magnets onto the vent rib. And they're fairly bright, so I do like it. And they're reversible, so you can go from green to orange. So I do like it because it's removable, it's not permanent, and it's pretty strong. And as the recoil pushes the gun back, it's going to push it forward, and your bead sight, of course, is going to be there to stop it, so you don't really have to worry too much about it falling off the firearm. And of course, if you're really desperate, you can also put a little dab of glue there on one of the magnets, and it'll hold it as well. All right, moving down, the barrel. This is probably where I got you guys. And you're probably saying, wait, a vent rib on a defensive gun? Well, I kind of did something tricky here because, you know, I'm not a huge fan of using a cylinder bore gun for survival. I mean, I want the chokes. I want a choke system on a gun. If I'm going to have to count on it for my life, I want a removable choke. I want to be able to go and pick and choose what I use for it. So after a lot of hunting, I was able to find this old Winchester 120 barrel. And the 120 barrels are interchangeable with the 1300s. The 120, the 1200, and the 1300 can pretty much interchange. You might have to do a little modding, but this is actually a youth barrel. So this is a 20-inch youth barrel, so it's in that home defense size range, but it also has the removable wind choke system, which you really don't need any tools. You just screw them in and out. You know, you can use a spanner wrench for them, but I've really never found it to be necessary. So that gives me, number one, a lot more capabilities than your average joker who just put together a nice black shiny shotgun. I can put a full turkey choke on this. I can put an improved cylinder anywhere in between. Of course, I would use the improved cylinder for, you know, buckshot or shooting slugs at distance. You know, apparently, after a little research, improved cylinder is the best choke for slugs. I never knew that, but hey, you learn new things all the time. But so when sitting around the house, I can leave the improved in for slugs and for buckshot. Can give you that wider pattern with the buckshot. But you know what? In a survival situation, I've got a full and a modified that I can throw in there as well, and use it for turkey hunting, geese hunting, whatever it is I may need to do to survive. So So that is kind of cool. It does limit me a little bit, being it does have the vent rib, but no big deal. I was able to get the vent rib sight for it, and it doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, it doesn't look as tactical as the nice round barrels with the heat shields, but oh well, it works, and it cost me like $80 for the barrel. I actually have more money in the barrel than anything else. Next is a magazine extension. Turns out the 20 gauge and 12 gauge Winchester 1300s use the same magazine tube, so I was able to put a 12 gauge magazine tube extension on there, which brings us up to 8 rounds in the tube and 1 in the chamber for a total capacity of 9, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. And so that's kind of neat. It's a polymer one. I would prefer to have one that's aluminum, but I ended up getting this on clearance. One of the beauties of buying things like this for 20 gauge, lots of times you'll find small little websites put these on clearance and just get rid of them. I think I paid like $12 for that tube extension. It was like next to nothing, which was really cool. Next, moving down, is this ATI tactical forend. It was in the neighborhood, I think, 23, 24 bucks. I bought it, because I wanted to keep the wood on this thing and keep it original looking, but I don't like the barrel hung accessory, Picatinny, all that stuff. So I picked this one up because it has the capability of mounting Picatinny on both sides. So now, as you can see, I have Picatinny on both sides, so I'm capable of putting lights and lasers right on the forend. So I do like that. It is a little heavier than your standard wood forend, which is kind of one of the downfalls, so it does increase the weight a little bit, which is surprising, but those wood ones are actually pretty darn lightweight. Okay, moving down. I didn't do anything to the internals. I left them all alone. There's not a lot of aftermarket parts for the 1300 internally. I added a Velcro side saddle, and this right here is just a little 5-pack. It holds it very well. It's I actually bought I think it's an ATI or maybe Tacstar one, and I have it as well, and I cut it down to size, and actually, I'll do a video on it and show you what I did at a different point. But I basically took it, cut it down to nothing, and then put a piece of Kydex on the back and then the Velcro on it. But, it doesn't hold as good as these nylon ones. The nylon ones actually hold really good. I think it's because they're not so even in the back, and it maybe creates a little more pressure to make them tight. I don't know. But I like it because I can take them off, I can replace them. If they go bad or stretch out, I can just throw them away and get a new one. Unlike the polymer ones that you actually bolt onto the receiver, you break it, you're kind of stuck with it until you get a whole new one. This is a little interchangeable. I can take it off at any time, swap it out. I can actually use it between firearms. I can put Velcro on, sew it onto my clothing, and instead of walking around with a vest, I can actually have, just a couple of Velcro patches hidden in a jacket pocket, and I have a great way of returning rounds. And plus, it's a good way to organize too. You can color code. You could do like green for buckshot, black for slugs. You can color code the whole thing, which makes it real easy in a survival situation, because this is buckshot and that's a slug. They're both yellow. It's very easy to confuse the two of them, but you can color code with these panels. And the retention, like I said, is actually really good. It does take a little bit of an effort. So there's that. I do like that. It holds really well. I'm surprised. I thought I wasn't going to like it, to be honest. In the back, we went with the Hogue 12-inch length of pull stock. I like the original wood stock. I really like them. I had no problems with them whatsoever, but I wanted the shorter length of pull. So I looked all over for a used stock for the 1300, and all the used ones out there, people wanted $30, $40 for them. I ended up finding this Hogue on sale for like 19, or maybe might have even been 17, and I decided to go with it. The normal length of pull is 14 inches. This one is 12, so it's 2 inches shorter, which gives you a little better, because let's face it, this is New York, it's cold a lot. You're wearing big bulky jackets. I've kind of figured it'd be better off to go with the shorter length of pole. I think it gives it a little more maneuverability, a little more usefulness if it comes to using it indoors. And then, you know, just if you're hunting, if you're in the brush, something like that, it's always nice to have that shorter length of pole. The other great advantage, of course, is this stock is hollow. I have not done it yet, but I'm going to make a survival kit. Pretty much from, bring this up, pretty much from like this point on, the entire stock is hollow. That's a pretty big cavity you can fill with whatever you want. So I think what I'm going to do is put some stuff in there like a space blanket, some matches, water purification tablets, some Ziploc bags, some very basic survival stuff. So that's going to go in there. And as you can see as well, we also have this Allen Company shell holder, which I do not like. It is going to get replaced. As you can see, it kind of binds up a little bit here. It's not really made for these shorter stocks, so I definitely have got to replace it. And I have something in mind. I actually found a left-handed buttstock pouch, which basically is very similar to this. It goes on with Velcro straps, but instead of the shells, it has a pouch, and you can put the bullets in the pouch or whatever. So we'll be adding that as soon as that comes in the mail, and that should be here shortly. But there it is, guys. You know, this is what I consider a pretty, oh, and we forgot the light. I added the Nightcore P12 to this. It's a 950 lumen light. So it is very bright. As you can see, has a strobe effect. So I can use it for just general use, survival, or defensive purposes. I don't like this mount. It sticks out way too far, so I am going to be replacing that. Not a fan, but yeah, overall really digging this, really happy with it. And the capacity on this, when we have everything all together, make sure we're in frame here. So you're talking 8 in the tube, 1 in the chamber is 9, 5 and 5. So this gun will carry 19 rounds on it at any given time, which is a pretty good capacity if you ask me. You can mix it up, all different kinds of things. So I think that makes it a great survival shotgun. You can put, you can keep, you know, 5 slugs, 5 buckshot, 10 bird shot, you know, and that will actually provide you with a lot of opportunity for getting meat, a lot of opportunity for defending yourself. You know, I think it's all around a great little project, and I think I have a good advantage over a lot of the survival shotguns you see on the market, and that I do have the choke system, so I can change the choke for whether it's a defensive or hunting situation. Of course, I'm going to leave it as a defensive, you know, setup when it's sitting around the house, but you know, if I ever had to run with this thing, my ultimate goal is I'm probably going to put the extra chokes I have in the stock. Probably find a way to secure a little screwdriver for the stock, maybe in the butt pouch, some small tools, Allen wrench, you know, whatever I need to make adjustments in there. And like I said, you know, space blanket, some water purification pills, lighter, you name it. And I think I have a very good survival rifle. I think I've kept it pretty broad in that it can serve in a wilderness situation as well as like an urban SHTF. I have, you know, kind of the best of both worlds. I can hunt and I can have, you know, a top-notch defensive gun. The Winchester 1300 has got that really quick, fast action with the rotating bolt. These things are super fast. They're pretty good. They're pretty reliable. I mean, you name it. This thing's an absolute beast. And the greatest part of all is nothing on here can be undone, or everything on here can be undone. I still have the original barrel. I still have the original wood furniture, and the Velcro can be scraped off in a heartbeat. Everything can be turned back. There's nothing permanent done to this gun. I haven't affected its value or its collectability, or, you know, if I decide to pass this down to my grandkids, I can put it back to its original condition in literally a couple of minutes. So, love it, guys. Just simple ingenuity. And the 20 gauge, you know what? A lot of guys don't like it, but you know what? In the end, 20 gauge ammo is very available, even during bad ammo shortages. It packs a really good punch, and a lot of the accessories you can find on clearance, because 20 gauges are so out of vogue right now that you can find this stuff cheap. You know, I was able to find almost everything on here for clearance, and I was able to do all these upgrades, including the barrel, for $150. That's $250 in a pretty snazzy setup here. So wanted to share and get some input, maybe any changes you guys like to see, kind of give me some ideas, because this isn't a finished project. It's just kind of a start, and we're gonna play with it and